Well, you guys can see where I'm at. This is our second trip down the hill. Come on, littles! Come on, babies! I think that they really enjoyed the first trip down a couple of days ago. I did give them, like I said, 2 days to rest and recover. Hey, settle down, Brady. Brady, there's no need in all that. Come on, Ringo, lead the way, buddy. Huck. Well, they're gonna start here at the top, and that's fine. They're gonna start at the top, and you know, I don't care where they start. They can start at the top and work their way down, or they can come to the bottom and work their way back up. Whatever's right for them. Look at Elfie. He's gonna just keep the high ground. That's cute. I'm just happy to see them filling their bellies with this good stuff. And this is a lot better than grains, y'all. This is a whole lot better than sugary grains. A lot of people were asking about Ringo. Brady, settle your big butt down, you big galoot. There's no need in all that. Yeah, a lot of folks were asking about Ringo and how he did after the hill climb. And guys, believe it or not, Ringo hasn't really seemed to skip a beat. You will see Ringo get on his hands and knees sometimes and just kind of take it easy. But the day after the hill climbing excursion, he hasn't really seemed to be, he wasn't doing anything different than what he always does. So I think he's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and walk him a little bit further down. I'm noticing a couple of goats have already kind of wandered back up onto the hill. Brady is being, he wants all the good stuff for himself. All right, let's go. Come on. I'm walking on down, babies. Do you guys remember back, I don't know, was it January or February, when I set that fire? And all of this was just it looked like a war zone, just burnt and just destruction and smoking fires everywhere. It's all come back nice and green. It's all come back nice and green. Oh, there's my sweet Pebbles. Come on, baby, lead the way. You wear the bell, come on. It's all come back nice and green. Now, the only thing that I worry about is the fact that when we first bought the property, one of the first things that I did was came through here and we cut all of this brush down. Cut all the brush down and piled it up. There's still remnants of all that brush piled up here and there. And I'm afraid that that may have to be done like every couple of years, because all of this that you see here is going to grow up into brush. Come on, littles, let's go! Come on, babies. Come on, sissy. Come on, Mr. Huck. Come on, you old bowling ball, Brady. It's easier to run down. Come on, old nanny goat. Look at Elfie. Way to go, Lenny. So I only have about half the goats here with me. Y'all saw that only about half the goats came down. I'm not real sure how they chose how to subdivide themselves. But for the most part, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 of these goats are a part of our original wacky pack. So all of the wacky pack is more comfortable with getting, you know, down and exploring nature. The littles who've come from I'm a Survivor, who were not part of the wacky pack, they've only been here for a couple of weeks and they haven't quite got it yet. They're not quite sure about this Mother Nature stuff. Well, they can learn. Here they come. Here comes the other half. Come on, babies. I bet you Ringo was trying to convince all these goats to stay with him. He's like, guys, there's just as much good stuff up here. We can save the strain on their knees. Here he comes. Here comes my old man. That's good. With Shirley and Laverne. The only goat that I do not see is Pickles. The only goat that I do not see is Pickles. And I don't know why Pickles has chosen not to come with us. I'm hoping that he's not having some leg issues. But I will check on him when I get back up. Oh, here he comes. Oh, here he comes. Pickles reminds me of, have y'all ever heard of the Pied Piper? And remember, he took all the mice out of the town of Hamlin with his magic flute. And then they refused to pay him the amount they had agreed on for doing that, for ridding the town of mice. So he came back with his flute and played a song and took all the kids away. It's a fairy tale. But there was one kid only one kid survived, the one kid who was handicapped, who couldn't quite keep up.
Only 2 kids were left in the entire town. A boy who was hard of hearing and a girl who had hurt her legs so badly that she couldn't keep up the pace with the rest of the kids.
And that would be our little Pickles there. It's cute. That's cute. Let's go on down, guys. I really like walking on down. Come on. Dad's gonna walk on down. I'd like you to join me. It's a very steep grade here. It's a little bit easier walking off the rocks. The rocks will sometimes give way, but you can get a little bit better traction here in the clay. And I'm all alone. Daddy's all alone. Elfie? And Sissy, you're not gonna be pushing and shoving on. Isn't that just like teenagers? They always start doing foolish things when it's most dangerous. And how many of you know someone who's been involved in an accident, a teenager, doing something foolish? When I was in high school, they had a kid was trying to hang upside down out of his vehicle, hit the passenger side, and the driver sped off and did a donut. And that kid was hanging upside down out the window, so showing off to all the other kids. And he ended up flying off that car. He lived, but he had quite the injuries. And so many people saw it. We didn't have cell phones in those days, so there was no video of it. But now, in this day and age, kids all have phones, and they're all trying to catch each other doing the most stupid and ridiculous of things. You've seen them push each other off over onto the rail lines there where they have subways. Just playing around, just kids playing around, shoving and pushing and just playing. And if you're not ready for something like that, then you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable position. Look at old Ringo. Look at that guy. Man, I love him. Ringo has taught us a lot of lessons about ourselves, y'all. And look at Mr. Huck. He doesn't want to be behind. He wants to stay right there with the leader because he is in Did y'all just see that tub of lard coming down that? That's Chip. That's Chip. And he looks like a tub of lard running down that hill. He's about as bad as Brady. But a lot of y'all, I appreciate the compliments. You're saying how nice the goats are looking. They're all kind of shaping up a little bit. Now, I don't know if you call that a shape yet, but they're getting there. They are getting there. Having to tell them no to so many grains, making them get out and forage every day has really done its magic on transforming their little bodies into more healthy goats. And they enjoy this. I enjoy it if they can do it while it's early. I don't like to wait until noon when it's hot. So what I've been trying to do is get all my chores done over at I'm a Survivor and get over here a little bit faster, a little bit earlier in the morning. Been trying to get here by 9:30 or so. That makes it nice. You can still get out and do stuff. It doesn't really get, hot till right around noon, 1 o'clock. And that heat of the day between, I would say 1 and 5, y'all, it's just almost unbearable. But I stick around here, and that's when I do all of my watering. I water everybody down and keep everything, keep the sprinklers on. Look at you, buddy. Come up to love Dad. Come on. I think a lot of people love the fact that you were giving me some love. A lot of people appreciated that you were loving on me in the last video until I had to call it out, and then you got upset with me and had to give me a nice ram to the shoulder. Yeah, Ringo still has quite the belly. Hello, sir. Hello, good boy. Hello, good boy. One thing I've not done yet, and I probably should, Brienne sprayed all of her goats with something. I forgot what we called that when she first brought them over. And I even used her spray to do my goats and my goat pasture here on this property. But I never sprayed these goats with the same stuff. And I need to probably do that. What was that stuff called? Y'all remember that stuff that she sprayed? But I haven't seen anyone itching or scratching on each other, and I think that they're fine. But it would be wise to go ahead and spray them down to keep any kind of ticks or lice or fleas or whatever else goats can get on them out in the woods like this. I love how you guys are filling your bellies with good stuff. They are filling their bellies with good stuff. And I promise I will not trick y'all today. I will no tricks. I'm not going to run away like I did last time. That was mean of me. I think I may have been the only one who was laid up for a day after that. I think I was the only one laid up for a day after doing that stunt. Ringo was fine. Let's walk down a little bit closer to the river today. Y'all want to? Let's walk on down a little bit closer to the river. So, if you all can remember, when we first got the property in December, this is where it was cut off. There was no way you could get lower to the water from here without traversing down another 30 or 40 feet. So what I had was, when the guys finished the pond, I asked Paul if he would send his bulldozer guy down here. I'd pay him the extra fuel cost and labor to take that bulldozer and just cut me a trail a little bit closer down. Paul warned me that this trail might not hold up to the rains because of the steep incline and all the erosion. And I says, go ahead and cut it and I'll maintain it. Well, as you can see, Paul had the lane cut, but I've not done anything to maintain it. Maintaining something like this would require a lot of rock to be brought in, lots of rock. And that means I would have to haul that rock down with my tractor. Otherwise, look what happens. Entire ravines have been cut in our trail. I can still come down with my four-wheeler easy enough. Four-wheeler can come right around this stuff, but you couldn't drive anything bigger down here. And then he kind of the road kind of Z'd around backwards. You know who's enjoying himself a whole lot is that one right there. That one right there is really enjoying this. Come on, babies. Guys, look at this. Look at this. Is that wild hog? Is that a wild hog? That right there would be a wild hog has come down through here. Now, this is the first time the goats have come down. Let me show you again. Or could that be a deer? Now, you guys are better than I am. Deer or wild hog? Neither one surprises me. I'm not surprised by neither one. This over here, I would bet it's opened up so wide, that would have to be a pig. That'd have to be a wild hog, surely. That would have to be a wild hog. Don't hurt Daddy, buddy. You come all the way down here, you didn't come here to hurt me. Now, this is as close as we can get to the water right now. Now, normally the water's a lot higher, so the water actually comes all the way up to right about here on a normal day when the river's at full, at its normal depth. Right now, it is shallow. It is really, really shallow. I know. This is pretty neat. What are y'all thinking? Yeah, so something had beat us down here this morning. I don't know if that was a hog or a deer. It's pretty neat to see that other animals also occupy the same area, grazing on the same stuff. I bet that's a hog. What's wrong with everybody? What's wrong with you all? This, my friends, is about as close as it gets. But you can see all of the lush vegetation to be eaten on down here, y'all. What I wish these goats would do is wake up every morning like they used to do. I'm a survivor, and go out and forage on their own. They don't need me to go with them. They just want me to. They're scared to go alone. They're so scared to go alone. And that's fine. What pretty scenery, huh? What real pretty scenery. Stop pushing and shoving around the river. Oh, there's a turtle. You'll see the turtle swimming by? It's very peaceful and quiet here. Whenever I go to Google Earth and I look at the satellite image of our property, guys, there's nothing over there. There's nothingness. That's just acres and thousands of acres of nothing, which is really awesome. It's slow land, which means no one could probably ever build there, because when the river does flood, I'm sure a lot of that is in the floodplain. So you really can't build and develop in a floodplain. So we're pretty safe from ever having anybody develop any of that. And then we have neighbors on each side of us who are very happy living here. And if they talk about living here for the rest of their lives. I told Jamie we would be wise. Hey, stop being mean. I told Jamie we would be wise to try to save our money. And the day that any of our neighbors, either one of our neighbors on either side of us, decide they're about ready to sell out, possibly talk to them about buying their property. Because that would, number one, open up more pasture space for us here. And it would also guarantee we could always keep the same peace and serenity that we have now on each side of us. Now, that would be a long time down the road. We are invested here for a while. What I mean by that is it'll take us a while to pay off this property. And we're not going to add more to our debt until we can get this over here paid off. But I'll tell you whose property is beautiful is Mr. Pete. He's on the right side of us. I'm going to take you guys over there one day into his yard and show you his property. It's 10 acres, and it is gorgeous. It's hills. It has hills like us. Now, Pat and Dave on the left side of us, they haven't cleared. That looks like a watermelon, or that looks like a zucchini or a squash to me. I don't know how that would be growing here. It'd be funny if it was. Look how they on their own are starting to head back up. I'm going to stop here and see what they do. This may be their way of saying, hey, it's been a good adventure. It's getting hot. Let's go home and sleep. But if they start heading back up, I'll go with them. I'm ready to. Yeah, they each have 10 acres. 10 on the right side, 10 on the left side of us. And Mr. Pete has more pasture. Dave and Pat have more wooded land. But either way, it would offer an amazing buffer where we could put maybe the horses into the pastures. This is what I imagine. I imagine putting the horses in the pastures over on Mr. Pete's side, and then allowing the goats over on the left side, some goats. But all of this is very, very, very far in the future. I am hoping that Dave and Pat live forever. Mr. Pete and his wife live forever. And no one ever needs or wants to sell, because they're great neighbors. I'm doing a constant head count to make sure we haven't left anyone behind. But we've been real blessed to find this property. This was, if y'all think about it, for those of you who followed our page for a while, you saw the 10 properties that we were looking at before we finally settled on this one. And there were some that we were really interested in that did not work out. And have you ever heard that song? Sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers. Remember when you're talking to the man upstairs. Even though he doesn't answer, doesn't mean he don't care. Some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. Yeah, so sometimes when I think about how blessed we are to have this particular property, and I look back to some of the other ones that we were thinking about buying, talking about buying, negotiating on buying, even had inspectors come out to look at some, and all of them kept falling through for different reasons. Some we had to back out on, some you couldn't negotiate a decent price on, some people were just asking way too much. And we found this amazing piece of property here that is just what we've needed at that time. And get this, it's turned into being what we needed here at the here and now with the drought. With the drought and the heat, Longhorn Lester's has saved us. Not only did it give Tex and his family the refuge that they needed away from all the riffraff that I'm a Survivor with Billy and Moses and all of that drama, it also gave Carl an escape from all he was having to deal with, where he can spend time with his family. Now it's opened up a place for us to bring our goats every summer to get them into great health. And I love this place so much. There's not a thing that I would change about it. The terrain is, I'm going to have to learn how to handle the erosion. I will have to learn how to maintain the property, you know, and work with the erosion control. But that's the beauty of it, y'all. You learn new stuff. These goats are ready to go up there. These guys are still filling up their bellies. There's a lot to eat here, y'all. I wish that Sister Kim would consider letting her goats come over too for the next couple of months. If Kim just knew how happy her goats could be here. I watch them every day out in her pastures, and they're struggling just like ours were, trying to find grass. But I also know how hard it is to let your babies go. You really admire what Brienne did in realizing that her babies were struggling. And I'm not saying this in a mean way, but sometimes it does take a wake-up call. And so losing Beth was horrible. Was horrible. Losing Beth the way that we lost her was just so sad that, you know, Bree having to see that and deal with that. But I think it was a wake-up call to Brienne that her goats need help. Me walking up on Sissy that one day, seeing the way Sissy was laying out there, that's not a goat's demeanor, y'all. You see when your goats are not well. And then you look at Sissy right now here. That's my Sissy. And so you know that at some point you have to go against what was popular opinion and do what you have to do. It's that executive decision making that no one likes to hear. We all hate it when a president makes an executive decision because he's taking the power out of the Senate, out of the people, to do whatever he's going to do because he says it has to be done in his best judgment. Some things just have to be done that you can't waste time on debating. You can't take to a vote because votes can be biased based on different people's opinions. And so this is kind of the same thing with moving the goats to Longhorn Lesters. I knew that if we put it up for debate, it was going to go back and forth. It was going to linger on and drag on. And so all I can do is look back now and say, I'm glad I didn't put the goats through any more of that misery. I made them wait long enough to bring them up. And then a lot of folks are going to say, Lester, just leave them there. If they're that happy, if they're that healthy, just leave them there. Why take them back? And then I guess my only thing about that is I'm a survivor. It's quiet and it's peaceful now. Well, it's not quiet. There's still geese. And there's still ducks, and there's still chickens that make so much racket. But you miss your goats. And our pastures have to be maintained, guys. They still have to be maintained. What we're doing right now is letting all of the animals run over all the pastures. There's no, even though we have our cross fencing, no gates are being closed except the ones into our yard. So all of the animals can go anywhere they want to. And it's keeping our pastures well maintained. But of course, there's no grass growing now either. There we go. Hey, settle down. Ringo, how about you lead us home, buddy? Dad's getting tired. I know you're tired. Sun's come out. Looky there. The sun's out. I have already sweat all the way through my hat. He's like, I'll lead you home. I know the way. Everyone follow me. Everyone follow Skinny Butt. It is so important that he's up in the front. Ringo would like to be first. He just can't quite keep up. But Mr. Huck can. Where's Pickles? There we go. And look who's last, though. Coming up the rear. There we go. That was a nice walk, everybody. Thank you all for taking that with us. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did.
Don't let your troubles fester. Come watch Longhorn Lester.
Yeah, something like that.